address the service lines. Now, for instance, we have been addressing all of our services through the water improvements that we made. Now, as I stated earlier, we're taking inventory of the customer's line. We have to inform that customer that they have a potential lead hazard in there and ask them how they would like to address it. And if they said we do not want to address it, then we are responsible to address it.
As far as changing,
Yes. That's the things that we're asking through the regulators, who's going to pay for this? But they're putting the responsibility on the cities, and it's a nightmare. So the second thing,
even if it's a copper line.
yes, if it's
I understand lead, I just don't understand the copper part.
Yeah, it's because the copper there's a certain percentage it has what's called the MCL, maximum containment level. If it goes past that, then the copper's bad and has to do that. The other part of the rule is that all schools and daycares will have to be tested. This is where our staff will be going to schools and daycares, pulling water samples and taking that. And when they define daycares, it is if you basically get a license to watch 2 or 3 kids at your house, you're a daycare, and we got to go pull a water sample at your house and inform you what's going on. Then I have to develop a corrosion control treatment plan, which we are working with our engineers with the new facilities that we're putting on that down there. And most of all, which I find very time-consuming, is the public outreach. How we're going to get the public educated and various things in there on that. So this is the 6 steps of this rule, and so I am asking for this employee just to be a coordinator over it. The way I see that we're going to be able to handle this is I'm advancing the chief operator at the water treatment plant to be the coordinator, and I'm pulling in a licensed operator to do his duties. The chief operator will be coordinating, working with all department heads on making sure this gets out. He likes to read those long technical books anyhow, so we just made his life real happy.
I like it.
So on that, here's the problem. That inventory... That all already sounded like the problem. That lead service inventory has to be completed, submitted to it has to be into the EPA, the TCQ and EPA by October 2024. We have to have it submitted by July for them to receive it by October 2024. So that's a lot of man hours or people hours to get a lot of stuff together. So now that we have the template, that was like the go for us. We have the template, and so now we know we've got to go and start coordinating and collecting data. And that's why through our budget workshops, informed Mr. Gregory of all this and how we were going to make sure that we were in compliance with it, all that. Some of the challenges is the funding. It's an unfunded mandate coming down from the EPA. The TCEQ is actually fighting on our behalf to try to clarify some of these rules and regulations. We're looking at ordinances and legislation that may have to be developed or changed, records of verifications, tracking progress, community outreach, and construction. So to keep it short, I think I've stated enough that you could tell that if I went into detail with every one of these, we could have a full workshop, last an hour and a half on that.
I'm more than okay with what you've provided so far.
One of the things I do want to present to you, sir, is that the EPA regulator of the City of Fort Worth and her assistant, public outreach, have made it available that they would come speak at a workshop if you would like to have one, just to kind of more clarify, because they're working hand-in-hand with TCEQ and EPA on this. They're actually battling them each month, and they're passing down those notes and everything to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's TML doing for us on this? Anything?
I think they're just watching from the sidelines, sir. I've not had them, any updates that I received from the TML, I have not seen them other on that. Have you seen anything?
The
I figured
TCEQ,
they would do something for long, but
I mean, TCEQ's fighting it with the way that them and the state and TML don't always get along. It might be better if TML just lets TCEQ handle it for now.
The TCEQ, instead of just accepting it, they are fighting it down, as it, because when the rule came down from EPA, it is basically some areas that are very bad, and for instance, like, they said, you will go up there and dig in that person's yard, and we said, whoa, this is Texas, that's private property.
Right, are we gonna get a search warrant to go in everybody's yard? I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's not right away.
Boring down to the pipe, are you chancing damaging the pipe?
Absolutely.
Hydro excavating.
That would make somebody real happy to not have water for a while.
Or they were then requesting that the homeowner replace whatever metal pipe they had with PVC.
No, they're
Right over the house, is that what they want?
Yes, they're requesting you as a city to inform that homeowner that, one, he has a problem, and two, that, you know, how we want to deal with it is that, explain that educational process to him, why he needs to do that. If that homeowner says, no, I'm leaving it just the way it is, then we have to step in and provide him a new service to his house.
I mean, it doesn't make sense because you're not changing the pipe in your house either.
No, it doesn't.
So what's, if it's from the street to the house, then you've got all the pipes in your house that are metal if you have that age house.
Correct.
What's that gonna fix?
One of the things it does do, if you're familiar, if you happen to be on our lead and copper sampling, where when you take that sample, you have to do what we call first draw, is just turn that faucet on after it's been off, and the whole house has been off 6 hours, take that sample immediately. Well, you're shortening that distance of lead that would be out of it. You still may have lead in the house, but you're actually shortening that, because now your whole service line would have, if it had lead in it, then now it's new pipe, which would make your water quality much better.
Well, those samples that y'all collected over the years, I know my house was one of them,
Yes.
we had a problem.
No, sir.
What you're really saying is that wall pipe, if you replace that, you don't get a backflow to go into your neighbors.
No, not necessarily, but what they're actually doing with this, they're designating any type of line that is not plastic or copper as possible that if you have galvanized pipes inside of your house and they have ever been downstream from a lead connection, that's called a GRR, or a galvanized requiring replacement, because the EPA is classifying that galvanized line as a lead service.
For the new council people, Mr. John Paul Jones is my technical expert, and you can see how much he loves reading those manuals.
His real name too.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Paul. Are you, John Paul, going to be the coordinator? Is that who you
John
said?
Paul is, yes.
So just curious, if this is a non-funded mandate, is the work due by July 2024, or just the surveys, the information? You said something was due by July 2024.
That's the full inventory,
Oh, that's
submit it back to
inventory. Okay.
that we,
So not necessarily the actual work
no, we
of
have to,
replacing everything?
no.
Okay.
We have to have a replacement plan either with that inventory or shortly after.
But the inventory includes the residents where we'll have to,
Yes.
by July of 2024, we'll have had to go into, dig into everybody's yard, find what their service line is.
Oh, okay.
we don't have to do every yard, do we?
Only if they qualify?
If they have water service, we do.
That's what they're telling us now. We are still working, and we're hearing different information from the TCEQ. That is different, it's actually different from what the EPA is saying, so we know that battle's going back and forth. But now we have that inventory. I can quickly download a lot of information that we made water improvements for our records on, but that still leaves the customer sides and various other things that we don't have. And if we don't have, and they're basically saying if you cannot provide this documentation, then it gets classified as unknown, and unknown, you have to address it.